Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Monday afternoon edition of Snow Talk. And doing a video blog first here for this afternoon to kind of cover the setup here as we head into tomorrow or tonight into early for tomorrow morning. And then I'll do some written post with more maps and data later on for this afternoon, because I do think we're going to have advisories issued. And in some cases, we could have winter storm warnings come out for portions of Kentucky. I'll explain where in just a few moments. Let's get into the setup, because there's several things I need to explain here on this. All right. First off, it's nice out there today. Beautiful weather. In fact, temperatures will get awful close to 50 this afternoon thanks to that sunshine we've had in the area. But here is where the Arctic front is moving through now off to the north. And the front placement, it's got some clouds stretching out with it and a band of snow. What is interesting about this is a situation where we're going to have it start off as a clipper riding along the front, digging down to the south and east. But when it gets into this area of the country, it no longer is a clipper type system. It becomes an actual storm. An area of low pressure is going to develop, and that is what is going to complicate the setup. As the front begins to sag down later tonight into the morning hours for tomorrow, it should line itself up in a very similar fashion to this, just south of the I-64 corridor as we head into rush hour tomorrow. As that happens, that is when the actual low pressure itself is going to develop, and the trend now is to develop the low across areas of southeast Kentucky. When that happens, there's going to be a band of moderate to occasionally heavy snow that's going to be found on the northern side of this low pressure once it starts to develop, and that band of snow will expand. This is going to be a flat-out significant storm as it moves eastbound for areas of Washington, D.C., all the way through Virginia here. This is going to be a pretty big snow. In fact, let me show you here the alerts that are out. Winter storm warnings are already posted now for areas of Washington, D.C. into Virginia, where they're expecting a half a foot of snow, if not a little more, and winter weather advisories here surround that with winter storm watches on the southern end here into Virginia. Based on the fact that this low pressure is going to be developing across East Kentucky, I fully expect that we'll have some advisories in our area that will come out to cover the snow, and then East Kentucky could go under a winter storm warning based on how much snow is likely to help out with the upslope. The mountains here could actually help enhance their snowfall a little bit in East Kentucky. So as far as where the advisory is going to be for Kentucky, I don't know. I think it'll be slanted. It probably would include Louisville, southern Indiana, and then central and our southeast counties. For those of you south and west of Louisville, I really doubt you'll be included in the advisory, but who knows? We'll see how it plays out once they issue that later on for this afternoon, the way it's looking anyway. I mean, they issue it, we do not, so we're at the mercy of the Weather Service. We'll see what they do later on. But it is an interesting setup because, again, this is not – we've been so used to clippers lately. This is if this was just a clipper in itself, this would not be a major ordeal with some snowfall moving through. But it's the idea that a low is going to develop along the front and head east. That is what is complicating the forecast for areas of Louisville and Cincinnati, eastward, all on this area is the area of concern. Because if the low takes longer to develop, say it doesn't develop until it gets into central North Carolina, that would keep the main accumulating snow to our east, and we just get the leftover clipper effects here locally, which is not a big deal. If the low deepens fast across east central Kentucky, then we could get an even heavier band of snow that could develop in our area. So there's a lot of questions still, and when you have a storm that actually develops on you, it's much more complicated than tracking one moving toward your area. Because now we've got a lot of ifs, and it becomes I know y'all hate the phrase sometimes, a nowcasting, but it becomes a situation where we got to wait until we really get closer to the event to really see how the models are verifying with the data. Keep in mind, I mean, we're going to be hitting 50 later on for this afternoon across Louisville. The models are only showing temperatures around 42 for a high today. We beat that about noontime. So that already tells us that a couple things. One, there's dry air in play, so you heat up dry air faster than you do moist air. So we do have some dry air, and I know a lot of you are worried about what happened Saturday, that the dry air is going to starve the system. Well, this is a very dynamic low, all right? This is going to be a situation where physics are going to outdo that idea. There will be some dry air initially, but all the soundings that I'm looking at, it shows that dry air eroding away pretty quick once the low actually develops. So I'm not overly concerned about that. I'm more concerned about when the low will deepen and where it'll actually develop. That is going to be my concern because that'll affect not only the amounts, but it'll affect the timing. So speaking of timing, here's the latest here on Futurecast, and this is pulling from our RPM model data, and this is going to change every few hours. I keep seeing it change, but the overall theme has not. As we get into about 4 in the morning, snow begins to break out. and this is still mainly the Clipper effects moving through areas of Indiana. But watch what happens when that low pressure begins to develop. The snow bands begin to enhance a little bit, and then you get snow developing here in East Kentucky, where the low is beginning to take place around 7:30 in the morning. If that holding of time, that time does hold, I should say, then that band here of moderate to occasionally heavy snow will set up in our area, and this is going to accumulate. And timing is everything. Right now, we're thinking 7:30 in the morning, toward the end of the rush hour period. Is when the snow would break out. Temperatures right at that point where salt would certainly work, but they're crashing across Indiana. So that's going to be a problem because we're going to see falling temperatures throughout this event instead of rising temperatures, and that will aggravate the road situation. I will say if you want to avoid all of this, just like we've mentioned before, last Friday even, you may want to plan to leave earlier before this hits or wait until the snow band of the heaviest portion passes by, because by late morning, the main accumulated snow should be our south and southeast areas, and we should actually begin to see a little bit of sunshine develop in southern Indiana. But again, keep in mind, temperatures will be falling throughout the day, so it's going to be colder and colder. Again, very similar to what we saw on Friday. I mean, it got colder throughout the day, but the snow shut off for the most part, and it wasn't a big deal, and it was easy to get around town. So it's only that few hours in the morning that are crucial, so plan your travels accordingly there. Tuesday afternoon in the teens, and then we fall into the single digits for Wednesday morning itself. As far as the mounts go, here is the RPM model. It is indicating through at least the beginning stages of rush hour, some light accumulations less than an inch developing around the area. That is enough to cause slick problems. We had more snow showers and we push over that 1 inch mark around the area. Now let me switch over to the NAM model. Show this one on the midday show today. It's picking up in a general 1 to 2 inch band locally, and then 3, maybe even close to 4 inches as you get closer to Cincinnati, but it's picking up that heavier band setting up throughout the day. The GFS model is averaging about 2 inches here in Louisville, lighter to the south, heavier north and east. That is the trend I want you to keep in mind. Heavier north and east, lighter through the area, and then even lighter across the southern sections. That is the general trend with this system as that low pressure develops. That's what you need to pay attention to, not the amount, specific number that we have at play. So, my overall thinking right now, and Kevin and I are going to go over the data here this afternoon when he gets in, and we'll kind of let you know what adjustments we're going to make here for the news coming up today at 5, so make sure to tune in. But in general, I think it's going to be a pretty narrow band here of an inch, maybe 2 inches if we get some banding features here in the area. 1 to 3, isolated 4 will be found further up the I-71 corridor to closer to get to Cincinnati and certainly East Kentucky, and then lighter amounts. A few 1 inch amounts, I wouldn't roll it out, but generally less than an inch is what we're talking about for areas southern and southeast. You'll be too far away from that low pressure based on where it's forecast to develop. You'll be too far away to get some of those main bands to affect you that far to the west. So we'll watch it. Now, in addition to that, we've got to talk about wind chill. I mean, this is probably going to be the biggest story this week. These are forecast wind chills by tomorrow morning at 10:30 when that snow has already fallen. Yikes. Wind chills in the single digits are not close to zero, if not below zero even, off to the north. And then as we head into Thursday morning, wind chills in the teens below zero. It is possible, and if we get any snow on the ground, that certainly would be the case. So cold air is going to be the big story this week, but I know the snow always makes headlines around here, and it will certainly for later today and for tomorrow as we prepare for this latest bout of winter weather. I wish it was an easier setup, but that's just the way they go. We get the model data, and we don't go verbatim on models. You can't do that. What we do is we look at the data, and we try to look at what our atmosphere is doing today, trying to correlate the two and come up with the forecast, and that's kind of our best guess right now. Is light accumulations, advisory level snows, what we're talking about here, but timing is our big concern, and certainly the chance here for some cold wind chills throughout the day. So tomorrow is just not looking nowhere near as nice as what it is today. So as I look at the tower cam and I see blue sky, my advice to you is to enjoy it. All right, I'll have more maps come up on the blog later on for this afternoon. And again, make sure to watch the newscast this evening and tonight. They're crucial to stay informed with and be updated. That's the important part about this because it will be ever changing every few hours. Thanks for watching.